Okay, welcome to the sixth common session of SunoikisisDC Digital Classics 2016. Today we have the first of three common sessions devoted to translation alignment. And we have three connected common sessions because they are about Herodotus, reading Herodotus in translation in different countries. And today we start with Usama Gad from Egypt, Cairo. So today the session is about reading Herodotus in Greek, English and Arabic. And then we will have during our semester other two sessions, one about reading Herodotus in Tbilisi in Georgia, and another one about reading Herodotus in Tehran. Why this? Well, of course, translation alignment is an important topic. We have been experimenting a lot with translation alignment in our Sunoikisis community, but the reason for focusing on Herodotus is because this spring semester in the United States at the Center for Hellenic Studies, there is another course about reading Herodotus in translation. So the idea is to contribute to this CHS course with a few common sessions in Sunoikis Digital Classics for using translation alignment techniques. And so this is the reason why we have examples from Herodotus. But today our guest is Usama Gad. Usama is a faculty member of the Ancient European Civilization Department at Ain Shams University in Cairo. I apologize for my pronunciation. Usama is a classicist, a papyrologist. He has a PhD from Heidelberg University, and he started contributing to Sunoikisis last year. You can find his common sessions for spring semester 2016. Before starting our common session today, I also remind you that now in YouTube for our Sunoikisis Digital Classics channel, the feature community contributions is on, in the sense that people now can contribute to our videos by translating video titles, descriptions, and also producing transcriptions and translations for subtitles. Why? Because there are people who are following us, but maybe it's difficult for them to follow the English common session. So the idea is to add transcriptions and subtitles for our videos. And I know that there is a request, especially from the community in Brazil. So just to let you know that this feature is on and you can try it. But now time is running, and so we can start our common session. Usama, welcome again, and you can start presenting your common session about translation alignment, Herodotus in Greek, English, and Arabic. And Usama, you have to unmute you because I can't hear you.
So do you hear me now, Monica?
Yeah, yes, now it works.
Okay, so wonderful. For inviting me for the second time to SunoikisisDC as you said, be with you for the second time, and this time I'm presenting about translation alignment of Herodotus in Greek, English, and Arabic. And this is a very special opportunity, as you said, because there is the CHS course in Herodotus, reading Herodotus in the USA, and now we are connected thanks to these digital magic tools. So my presentation consists of three parts, the first of which is an introduction about translation and translation alignment. The second is reading Herodotus in Egypt in Arabic, and of course English is always there. And number three, or the third part of the presentation, will be a live demo of how to make this alignment with the Alpheus alignment editor. So let us start first with basic definition about translation. We will talk in this introduction about what is translation in general, what is a source text, target text, what is a source language, target language, what's special about these languages, and why translation is a non-trivial task. In this part, we will be talking about language ambiguity in the level of the source language, the target language, and then translation strategy or strategies. And then we will end this with what is translation alignment. So what is translation? In translation studies, we have three basic types of translation. The first one is intra-semiotic translation, which is green light, for example, in the traffic light, which means go. Or you have intralingual translation, which is a translation within a single language. For example, when you say in English in other words. Or the third one is interlingual translation, which is a translation proper itself. For example, from Greek into English, or from Greek into English and then into Arabic, or from Greek into Arabic directly. So a source text is, for example, the one which we are dealing with now, which is Herodotus' histories, or even a paragraph of this, the whole text, or even a paragraph of it. This is a source text. What is a target text? The TT is the translation of the source text. For example, the Goodly translation of Herodotus, the English one, or Wahib Kamel translation, the Arabic one of Herodotus. Source language is the language in which the source text is encoded, spoken or written, of course, but we are dealing now with the written text itself, which is Greek. So the target language, the language into which the source text is to be translated, which of course in our presentation today is English and Arabic. So why translation is a non-trivial task? This is because of what we call ambiguity of the language, which has three layers, three levels of ambiguity: lexical on the word level, semantic on the sentence level, and syntactic on the way the arrangement of the words itself, ambiguity. So this is why translation in itself from the source to the target language is non-trivial, not a trivial task. It's a very significant task. So for example, for the lexical ambiguity, for when you say in English bank, what you are referring to? Are you referring to the financial institution, or you referring to the edge, an edge of a river? Or for example, a book or book. When you say book, do you mean the verb to book a hotel room, or you mean the physical book, a bound collection of pages? For the semantic ambiguity on the sentence level, when you say, or I saw her talk, and or we saw her talk, what did you see? You saw her move, avoiding something, moving down, or you saw her bear. And syntactic ambiguity, when you say, for example, he ate the cookies on the couch. So what do you mean by that? While he was sitting on the couch, he ate the cookies, or you mean he ate the cookies which were on the couch? So this is an example of syntactic ambiguity. So another level or another difficulty in translation is what is called the translation strategies employed by the translator or translators. Translation strategy is defined as a set of strategic decisions taken after an initial reading of the source text in our case Greek, but before starting detailed translation into target language, which of course in our case English and Arabic. We have here to differentiate between two decisions. The first one is strategic decisions. The second one is decision of these details. What is a strategic decisions? These are the first set of reasoned decisions taken by the translator. These decisions are taken before starting the translation in detail in response to the following question. What is the message content of this particular source text? What are its salient linguistic features? What are its principal effects? And what genre does it belong to? And what audience? Here, English audience, Arabic audience, German, French, and so on. What audience is it aimed at? What are the functions and intended audience of my translation, So, what are the implications of these factors? So, if a choice has to be made among them, which ones should be given priority and so on, these are the strategic decisions. But the decisions of detail is the reasoned decisions concerning the specific problems of grammar, syntax, lexic, etc. encountered in translating particular expressions in their particular contexts. Decision of detail can only be made in the light of strategy. Of course, naturally, however, problems of detail may arise during translation that raise unforeseen strategic issues and oblige the translator to refine the original strategy somewhat. So how to do all this, how to visualize all these decisions, I think translation alignment is the best way to do this. And what is translation alignment? It is a manual process in contrast to the automated process. Manual process by which we align two texts, usually called parallel text or parallel texts. One is a source text and the other is the target text. The digital tool that is used to produce the alignment is Alpheus Alignment Editor in the Perseids Platform. In my view, it is a powerful research and pedagogic digital tool, since it not only gives us a chance to think about the ambiguity of the language and translation decisions, but also because it gives us a chance to visualize this, how to represent this. A parallel text is a text placed alongside its translation or translation. Of course, the most famous example is the Rosetta Stone, which with its three scripts, but two languages, for Egyptian and Greek. And in the print culture, we did have some examples of translation alignment. For example, this static translation alignment. And by static, I mean that you cannot change it. Once it's printed, it is there. So you cannot change this translation alignment. And the most famous example, of course, in this regard is the Loeb Classical Library, which is used worldwide by students and scholars of classics. So another example here is Greek-Arabic alignment at the word level, actually. So you have the Greek in the first line, and in the second line you have the Arabic of each Greek in archein, so fi and bid, and so on. And you have an interliner display also, but this also again is a static translation alignment. But now we do have, thanks to the efforts of our colleague in Tufts and Leipzig, a very powerful tool which is called the Perseids Platform. In this platform, we do have the translation alignment editor, which is Alpheus Alignment Editor, by which we can make or produce dynamic translation alignment of whatever text we want to do. This is the editor itself, and in minutes you will see how we can use this editor in order to produce this translation. And if you go to the publication page of Perseids Platform, you will have demo publications of the translation alignments done by students and some colleagues of us. So you will have trilingual alignment, Latin, French, and English. You will have Greek-Arabic translation alignment, and we have also the translation done by our colleague Mariam Furadi between Farsi and English. So you can use this tool between whatever language you are interested in. So if you click on chapter 1 of my translation alignment of Aristotle Poetics, you will have this view. So you can view the two texts, the Greek text on the left side and the Arabic one in the right-hand side. But as I told you, it's a dynamic. You can change the display of this, not opposite one another, but interlinear, in which you could see which word is aligned with which word. Also, you could click on the Arabic or the Greek word and see what is the equivalent in the text. And even if you cannot grasp the meaning of the Greek, for example, or the Arabic, you could go to Alpheus and download the Alpheus reading tools, which works now with Mozilla Firefox, but there is a Chrome version of it coming soon, as Harry told me. So you could click on, for example, the equivalent of dynamin in the Greek text, in the Arabic text, which is quwwa, and click on it after downloading the Alpheus reading tools, and you will have the meaning and also the form of this. So you have quwwa, which means power, strength, force, violence, and then you have also the form of it, whether it is subject, it's nominative, whatever syntactical category this words is. So, and also you could do this with the Greek text, dunamis. So dunamin comes from dunamis, which is a feminine noun, and so it's a third declension, and then you have its form, it's a singular, accusative, and so on. And now the Alpheus supports Greek, Latin, and Arabic, but I think there will be improvements in the future. So another display of the translation alignment, a very powerful tool implemented by our colleague Tariq Youssef in Leipzig, and in which you can see Farsi English translation, Greek English, Greek Latin, and so on. You have 11 languages and more 1,000 texts are there. This is also very powerful because you could click on the aligned tokens and see which word is aligned with which word, whether this is one-to-one or one-to-many alignment. For example, Kai is aligned with it 6 times, Atque 2 times, and Kata with Ad 5 times versus 4 times, and so on. So this is a very powerful tool, dynamic tool, as I said. And also we could make some progress in this regard and make a dynamic lexicon like the Greek English dynamic lexicon of the Perseids website. For example, here the word nomos, you know, in a 72% it is translated as low, and so on, other 2% or 4%, and in which author these translation is attested, and you know, object of tithemi, past a law, and so on, subject of kilio o, law's command, you know, in Demosthenes. And of course also to use it with other languages like Greek and Persian and Latin. And for example, I have searched for power in the dynamic lexicon, also implemented by Tariq, our colleague Tariq Youssef. And you can see here power translated more than 71% as dynamis in Greek, and potestas 50%, more than 50%. Latin, and you have Persian, even though I don't know Persian, but now I know that it is Tast or something, because I know the Arabic script of the Persian language. So this is Tast, or many other translation of power in the Persian text, which I suppose the poems of Hafiz. So you could also, when you scroll down, see the context of these translation, not only just the percentage of the translation, but you could see this, not a context free, but you have now the context of this translation and see for yourself. I think it's a very powerful tool, and you will see in minutes how we could produce the translation alignment using this tool. Now, this is the first part of my presentation, and I think now we could go on to the second part, which is a very specific text, which is the histories of Herodotus. And it is read in Cairo, in Egypt, and of course the native language of the Egyptian now is Arabic, so we are researching it and teaching it, and the students are reading it in Arabic, and of course English is always there. So we have numbers of translation of Herodotus. The first one appeared in 1946, and it was done by Wahib Kamel, and he was a lecturer in Cairo University, and he made a direct translation from Greek, because he was a classicist, but of course not the whole work. As you can see in number 2, translation of book 2, which is a direct translation, as I said, and you have the other indexes in the books. And the second translation, the second Arabic translation of Herodotus, is the most widely used translation in Egyptian universities, which is Muhammad Sakr Khafaga, with an introduction and commentary by Ahmed Badawi, one of the Academy of the Arabic Language here in Cairo. And again, it is the translation of book 2, and again, it's a direct translation from Greek with extensive commentary from Badawi. So this is the contents of this translation, and it has only the translation of book 2. The third Arabic translation is a translation done in Libya by an Egyptian historian, and he was teaching there in the Libyan university, and he chose a very specific part of Herodotus' histories, which is book number 4, and you could imagine that this is the part which deals with Libya and North Africa, and of course when he is in Libya and teaching the ancient Libyan history, he will try to present his students with an Arabic translation of this book. And the fourth translation is an Arabic translation of Herodotus, and it is not a direct translation this time. It is a translation done using the English translation of Herodotus, the Goodly translation. But in the introduction, I have read that the translator has both the manuscript in front of Professor Ibrahim Nusri, who was the founder of history department, ancient history department in Ancient University. And this is a historian and a classicist. And so we have a combination of a direct and indirect translation done from English, then a revision done by a classicist. So we could not say that this is a direct translation, but when we produce or work on the translation alignment, we will see how this target text is far away from the source text or close in it, how it reflects the Greek, how it reflects the English. The fifth translation is a translation which is done by Abdullah al-Mallah in 2001, and this translation is the only full translation of the whole book, from book 1 to book 9 of the histories of Herodotus. And it is a translation from the English, not from the Greek, and it is a translation from the English of Rowlandson's, the revised edition, 1936. So we could trace the transmission of this text through Greek and English and then to Arabic. And now we could do this. We could visualize all these stages, Greek into English and English into Arabic, and understand this translation in its context. The last translation that I know about is the translation done by Mustafa Asha in 2008, very recently, but it's very interesting. Why? Because it is published by the Royal Institute of Amazigh Culture, and the Amazigh is the Berbers, and it is something which I suppose will reflect the translator's choice of labels of places, whether he will give it an Arabic Islamic label or a barbarian label. I am very eager to see how these texts, how these labels are there, because it is someone who is trying to say that we Berbers, we Amazigh, have a heritage, have a history here in this region. Of course, he translated the second book and parts of the second book and the fourth book of Herodotus. So you see the selectivity of the translator here, but you could also see the selectivity of the translation also in the labels he applied or the labels he used to do this translation. And I don't know this whether this translation is a direct or indirect one, but again, we could suppose that is from the English, and it will be interesting to see this translation, how it works, to see it myself and to visualize it to everyone. And so these are the six translations of Herodotus in Arabic, and I will go back to the first translation because the translator in page 22 has said something about his methodology, his strategy, his way of approaching the source text. He said that on the left-hand side you will have the Arabic original of the translator, but there is a translation on the right-hand side in English, which is said that the Greek text is sacred for me, so that I cannot translate it freely. Therefore, I made a translation, I made an Arabic translation as close as possible to the source text arrangement. So he is trying to preserve the arrangement of the Greek original. Why he is doing this? He says that it highlights the characteristic of the ancient Greek language in syntax and style. So he is trying to give us a reason why he did this. It is also faithful to Herodotus' narrative and descriptive style. So he has a reason here to preserve the arrangement of the Greek language. One has to do with the language itself, its syntax, its style, and another reason has to do with the author he is translating, I mean Herodotus. So this is the words of Wahib Kamel, the one who has done the first translation ever in Arabic, direct translation ever in Arabic. So how to present this, how to see what he is talking about in his introduction. I did this translation alignment using the editor, and as you can see in the left-hand side, this is the Greek, and this is the on the right-hand side, this is the Arabic. And from the first look, you could see the red words in the Greek, which is not aligned. And in the Arabic text, you could spot very fast the red words, which is not aligned. But again, it's a direct translation. It's a very good translation. As you can see, it is most of the words are aligned. So it's a very good translation. Now, let us go into some of the details. He said that he tried to preserve the arrangement. How this? In the Greek text, you have Parelape, tin Pasilian, Campises. So it's a free arrangement where you have the verb in the beginning, and then the object, and then the subject. But all the things are clear because in an inflected language like Greek, you have a very clear image. Parelape, ten, accusative, Campises, which is nominative. So Campises took the throne. So now in Arabic, we have a target language bias because he tried, as he said, to preserve this order of the Greek sentence. So he said, Tawalla al-mulka Cambiz. This is not very clear, but let us try to make it clearer. Here, Parelape on the left-hand side, and with the green, this is the Arabic verb. So here it is at the beginning of this clause. Then, or if you don't know what is Tawalla, you could again do it using the Alpheus reading tools and say Tawalla is a verb, and you could see the translation of this. I have to make to take this off. So, and then you know the form of it. It's a verb with he, tawalla. So, and then we have the second word, tin Pasilian. On the right-hand side, you have al-mulka, which is the object. And you have see here the verb in the Greek clause, you have the verb in the Arabic, you have the object in the Greek, you have the object in the Arabic, al-mulka. And again, if you don't know what is this, you could go to the Alpheus and click on it, and it will give you the definition. It's a noun, dominion, the throne, and it will give you the form of it, which is an accusative. Al-mulka. Al is the, mulk is the dominion or the throne. So Campises, we have here in the third place, you have Campises in the Greek clause, and in the third place, you have Campises. I should have told you that Arabic is right to left language. So Parelape corresponds to Tawalla, tin Pasilian corresponds to al-mulk, and Campises is equivalent to Campises, which is the third place. So he has tried to mirror the arrangement of the Greek into the Arabic, which violates what the Arabic reader would expect. The Arabic reader would expect something like this, where Campis is before al-mulk because it is the subject. So he has tried to preserve the arrangement, and we can visualize this now. So, but he was not doing this all the way in his translation. For example, here is a source language bias in which he were not able to preserve the arrangement of the Greek verb enomese at the end of the sentence, and he has put it, as you can see in the first line in the Arabic, put it in the first place, because he could not do that, because of the syntax of the Arabic language. So he was trying as much as possible to preserve the arrangement, but of course, sometimes he's forced not to do it. And another translation, visualization of this, it is the second direct translation of Kafaga in 1966. And as you can see, again, just 3 words which happens to be very similar to the other words which did not align in the Wahib Kamel's translation. So it's aligned very well. Just 3 red words, words which is not aligned with the Greek words. So, and again, here is a translation from Greek, which aligned very well also with the Arabic. So I put the English on the left-hand side and the Arabic on the right-hand side. I began to align them, and it is a very good indirect translation. So now going to the last part of our presentation, which is a live demo of this. I hope this will work, but I have prepared something here, which is a recording of this. Now you could sign into Perseids with your account, whatever it is, Google or Yahoo, or even with Twitter. And when you sign in, you have to allow the Perseids to have access to your account, and then you will be just for the purpose of signing in. And you will have a page like this, and you have new text alignment. Just to click on it, click on the new text alignment, and you will be directed to this page, which is Alpheus Alignment Editor. And as you can see, you have 2 boxes here. You go to the page of the SunoikisisDC and copy the Greek text, as I told you, and then go to the left box and paste it. And if you choose the English translation, you take it and put it on the right hand side box, and then go to the title. Try to give a title which you will be able to differentiate between your works. So I will give it a title, translation alignment of Herodotus Book 2, the first paragraph of it from Greek into English, and then you scroll down and click on align here, and in seconds you will be moved to the editor itself. Now you have the 2 texts, all the words are red, nothing's aligned. You begin your alignment by choosing the word Santos, and then choose what it corresponds on the other side. So click on it and then go to the English after the death. So this is what is the genitive absolute is translated in this regard. De is not translated. Kiro, so of course this is genitive of Kyros. And then Parelabe, click on it. Then go to inherited. This is a 1-to-1 alignment. Then click on Parelabe. It is black, so it's aligned. So 10 Perseids, you have his throne. So 10 is his, and Perseids is a throne. Then you have a comma. Pieces first. The subject of this sentence. Pieces aligned very well. Then you have a comma which aligns with the full stop very well, and then go back to it. It's aligned black. and then you have Kiro. So again, genitive. You click on it, and then you click off Kiros, and then you click on Kiro. It's black, so it's aligned, and so on. So you could go on now and go on with the words, other words. And if you want two words, it's easy. Just click on the Greek, and then you click on the two words which corresponds to that, and we'll go back to click on the other words. For example, kites or Kasandanis, it's 1 to 2 in the English. So Kasandanis, you click on it, and then you go to click on off Kasandane. As you can see, off 1, and then Kasandani, and then you go back to Kasandanis, and now it is aligned. So this is how to do it. It's an easy tool, and I think we could all do it with the language you are interested in. But don't forget to save your sentence by clicking here, and you will have when you begin to work on this translation alignment, mini translation to work with, and with this address you could put it in your website or whatever class outline you are doing, or you could take screen.
We lost Usama. I hope he can join us soon. Unfortunately, I think that Usama is not able to join us now. He told us before that it was possible to have problems sometimes in Cairo. But okay, I think that we were at the end of his presentation because seeing the slides, he had just 2 minutes for showing the tool Alpheus within Perseids. So in the meantime, well, we still have some time, but before Usama join us, maybe there are questions.
It's a little bit hard to ask a question without.
I know.
But maybe anyone else has an opinion on a conversation that we were having offline before this, Monica, about what reading materials people might suggest on critical work that comes out of this sort of work. So not necessarily to do with manual translation alignment of this kind, not necessarily with Greek and Latin or Greek and Arabic, but work that's been done coming out of this sort of. Oh, well, here's the summary again. Someone's just come back.
Usama,
I'll ask again later.
Yes. Usama, you're back?
Yes, I'm here, yes.
Okay, good.
So I'm sorry, I think I have missed a lot.
No problem. And we were just starting a discussion, waiting for you. But now you're back. I think you can finish your presentation. I think you have a few slides, and then we can start the discussion.
So when did I lost you? In which slide? Do you remember, or from?
Yes, so we lost you when, well, you were showing the alignment in Alpheus and the Greek and English translation. Yes, and because now I have here your slides, and basically it was almost finished, the alignment, the manual alignment of the Greek text,
Okay, so
the English translation. So you can start from that.
So, okay, I will now try to share my screen in order to see what I am doing on my screen. And I will try to make this online. Can you see Perseids now platform?
Yes, I can see.
So now I'm signing myself into the Perseids platform to give a live demo of this, not a recording. So I will click on allow and signing in. I think I have to take rid of this. Yes. And as you can see, this is my homepage. I have many alignment here in Arabic and English, and you should be clicking on this new text alignment, which will take you to the Alpheus alignment editor. And as you can see, you have here two boxes in which you copy and paste the text that you want. So let us go to the SunoikisisDC and see the Greek text for the easy and convenience of this. So we will go to the wiki, and you could go to translation alignment, scroll down to the Greek text, and then copy, go here, and then paste, and take the Arabic, the English translation of this, and copy and paste here. It will automatically know that it is English. You have not to supply this, and to give it a name. So again, copy is easy. So alignment of Herodotus, book 2, 1-1, from Greek into English again. Maybe we could say 2. And then click on align. It will now take a few seconds. It will load the Alpheus alignment editor. So now we are here, and as I have said, you just click on a word on the source text, and you go to the target text, and Teleutis Santos corresponds to after the death, genitive absolute. You take the 3 of them by clicking on them. So now they are not aligned. You have to go back to Teleutis Santos, and now it's aligned. And again, Hero, so it's a genitive of heroes. The 2 of them, and then 1 to 2, so it's aligned. Parelabe, the verb here, so correspond to inherited. Just click on it. Yes. Save sentence, you will have here changes saved and so on. 10 corresponds to his, and so on. You are doing this. His throne. Ian. You have to click on it. I think that I have to change my mouse. So Ian throne, and you have Cambyses, the subject with Cambyses 1-to-1, and you have a comma. You could do it like this, corresponds, and so on. So, and save sentence, don't forget, in order not to waste your work. And of course, as I said, you could do this. This is another way in order to do it. You could even do it like this. So here, Kiru corresponds to of Kyros, and so on. So ionic form of the participle of the verb to be, he was, and then bias, you could arrange it with the son or just with son, 1-to-1 or 1-to-many. I prefer to do it 1-to-1. Bias is son, and Kai, which corresponds to Kai. So you could do it either way, like this or like this, and again save your sentence. So I think this is very straightforward, and I don't think that this is very complicated, but the things that you figure out what is the meaning of what. I hope you will be able to do this, because as you can see, this is the Greek and this is Arabic. So just to click on that, and you will have the corresponding of that. So try to do also the English and Arabic to know Teleutosantes. It's Ba'da Wafat, and here, as you can see, Teleutosantes after the this. So it's an easy. Ba'da Wafat corresponds to after the this, and so on. And if you have any problem, you could, as I said, click on the word, whatever you want here. I think it will load the translation for you, and you will know what is this. And of course, with Greek, you could also do the same. Just double click on it, and you will have the disambiguation of this word. And I think now I have finished. I will leave some minutes for the questions. Back to you, Monica.
Okay, Usama, thank you very much for your presentation. This is a big topic, and okay, I think we can start our discussion. Gabby was asking something before, and then we will
do we want to start with Anisa's question? I think that's maybe more directly relevant. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Anisa writes in the chat. Yes, the idea to, this is an important thing. So for translation alignment, we don't have guidelines, and there is a discussion, do we need guidelines or not? But Anisa says, yes, that when we align something, we should share the decisions made during the alignment. Yes, that's the thing, because this depends on the kind of translation we have. So we can end also, that depends on the aligner, in the sense that every one of us can decide in a different way how to align to text. And so, but the important thing is to be consistent and to share our decisions, so the criteria that we are using for producing these manual alignments. This is important. So this is an important topic for the discussion. You showed, yeah.
Yes, I think this is very important. What I have failed to mention is that I'm trying to work on something which has to do with the Greek and Arabic translation movement, and I hope that I will be producing a documentation or guidelines for the translation of these specific texts. Yes, I think that it is a very big topic, and whether these guidelines will be applicable to other texts. The Greek and Arabic translation movement was concerned with the philosophical and scientific, mostly scientific and philosophical texts, whether this will guidelines will work well with the literature, I don't know. And I think this is very important. A step to have, first to have guidelines for translation, what to align, what to not align, what to say, what to not to say about the translation alignment, and the decisions made by the individual translators, and to make all these things clear. And when we have something like this, we could work on it, improve it, or work on it, have suggestions on it, and so on. So it's a very important topic, I think.
Yeah, Debbie, please.
So at the moment, the only way we have of documenting decisions we've made in a translation alignment is to write a passage of text describing the decisions we've made. At the moment, there's no way of embedding that in any other way. No structured way of doing that. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you're right, Gabby, in the sense that, well, guidelines is, well, it's difficult to produce guidelines to tell other people how to align, I think, but exactly, so we have the text. This is, and documentation means showing how we align the text of our decision. So is it true through examples? For example, it's impossible to have, for example, a word by word alignment usually, of course, and so we have to see if we want to align just single words, or for example for Greek including articles or not. So I agree on that. As for now, so guidelines I don't know, but at least documenting. Of course, documenting is long, it requires time, but we can do that by showing examples, specific examples.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's the other way of sort of structuring that documentation a little bit is maybe if we had a very, very crude taxonomy of levels of alignment. As Usama was saying, you can align a text, more as close to the word as possible, but you can also have a text aligned by whole clauses, by sentences, or even as the load texts are aligned, but they're only aligned by page. So just having a very crude taxonomy, when you circulate your alignment, you say this is an alignment at level 3 of our 5 possible levels, or something like that.
Yes, definitely, and I think this is another connected topic in the sense that one of the goals of these manual alignments is to produce training data for getting automatic alignment, and in this case we have different levels starting from the sentence. So this is why it's true, Gabby, it's very important also to document the level, because it's not only for other users, but especially for producing training data for automatic alignment. Yeah, so thank you for this note, because this is another important aspect. And in fact, we need alignments in different languages because we need training data, also because we don't want to align everything manually, but at least to try to produce automatic alignments. And Usama, you showed the iAligner tool that we are developing in Leipzig, and Tariq always says that he needs training data. And this is another important thing to remember for the aligner. So when we align translations and document it, so we have to document also this level of alignment. I don't know, Usama, if you agree on that in your experience. I think you showed examples. You are muted, Usama. You have to unmute you.
Oh, sorry. So,
No problem.
yes. Yeah, do you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yes, it's very important to document the decision that we are making, because whenever I go on align a word, sometimes it is better to align one to many, which will better illustrate the meaning of the translation, or illustrate something about the source text or the target text, or whatever the decision we made to align this. So I think a proper documentation of all these decisions will enable us in order to understand the whole process of translation itself, and the circulation of ideas between Greek and Arabic, and then Latin, and then the modern languages. I think this is very important to see and document, and to say that I understand it, I myself understand it as follow, one to one or one to many, or as I, as an Arabic speaker or an Arabic audience of this text, understand it like this. So a proper documentation will help us better understand not only the source text but also the target text also. So I totally agree with you. Yes.
Yes, and I think that there is another question by Anisa.
Could we have...
Yes. Directory on SunoikisisDC GitHub to save this documentation. Yes, definitely. So I think, well, we are using GitHub because we want to upload data. So definitely we would like to have many examples for documentation in this case, with examples. Yeah. And in fact, we have also for every class outline of Sunoikisis, we have exercises, we have reading. So we encourage our community to try. For example, Usama has in his class outline the text in Greek, in English, then we can use the Arabic. So definitely, so please try. Of course, another interesting thing would be to produce also a syntactic annotation. For example, Usama, when you showed the word order in Greek and in Arabic, this is a very interesting thing. The Arabic preserving the word order of Greek, so, or trying at least to represent the word order, the order of Greek words. So if we can also have the two trees, the tree of the syntactic tree of the Greek and of the Arabic, we can see similarities or differences. That depends on the decision of the translator, who can decide to preserve the order of a language into another language or not. So
yes, I think this is a very important point, to say that this is the arrangement of the source text, and this is the arrangement in the target text, and with tree banking, with translation alignment, I think we could make a proper documentation of this. It will be helpful for research, and also it will help us also in the classroom to tell the student that this specific case is from this specific translator in this specific region and the specific period. Yes, I totally agree to combine the two of them, the tree banking and translation alignment documentation with examples and with illustration as much as possible in order to make our points clear. So yeah, I totally agree with you on this.
And do you think that part of the students' tasks could be documentation? So when you give them exercises and they align things from Greek to Arabic or to any other language, while they're aligning, they also document their decisions. And then potentially, when we have various groups of students with different native languages, they approach the translations in different ways depending on their native language. And then we accumulate documentation of how each target language is approached depending on the native language of the students, etc. It might be a bit sort of time consuming to have the students do both the alignment and the documentation, but it could, in the long run, be useful, I guess.
it depends again what the documentation looks like. If the documentation is just notes saying, word to word, one to many words, or something very, very quick notes like that. If they have to write an essay about each sentence, then yes, it's time consuming. But if it's just a few notes talking about their basic decisions they've made, then that could be much more manageable.
Yeah, and then maybe those small notes could be consolidated by the tutor and written out as proper documentation.
Yes, Simona, thank you for that. I agree on that. Maybe, so it's time consuming, not just writing the documentation, but usually when you start aligning or banking, the thing is that you start doing that, and then after a few sentences, you say, okay, now I have to go back and to restart again. That's the long part. And then at the end, you can document your decision. So this is usually what happens when, because it's not easy, well, as you know. So we have these tools, okay, we have a few, so we can align, but when you start aligning or banking, then you will find many issues. So this is the long part, not only documenting, but trying to be consistent. And so you align or you bank a few sentences, and then usually you have to go back to start again because you realize that you have to try to be consistent. But definitely this is fundamental for students to learn how to use these tools in a proper way, and documentation is important for them as a learning way, and then for the community to have a good data. So yes, this is another important topic, I think. Yeah. Other questions? We still have a few minutes.
I have another question if no one else does. So Monica mentioned a few minutes ago about using a body of aligned texts as gold standard data for automated text translation alignment processes. I'm wondering if there are any other computational linguistic practices which could be performed on a body of aligned translations that couldn't be done without, or that the aligned translations could help with any large-scale computational work. And it's a very open, speculative question.
Well, I'm not an expert of this topic, but there are different possibilities, in the sense that, of course, we can use manual alignment, but we can use other tools. For example, for two languages, we can use a third language as a bridge. I don't know, between Greek and Arabic, we can use English as a bridge language if we have a dictionary, of course. This is the important thing, to have a dictionary, Greek, English, and Arabic English. Then we can use the English as a bridge language. Then we can, we can identify sentences in the two languages. This is not easy. And then we can also use, this is something we are experimenting in Leipzig, we can use name entities. For example, I have been experimenting with that with Greek text and Latin translations of Greek text. For example, for Greek fragmentary historians, where we have Greek fragments and Latin translations, and these fragments are full of name entities, which means personal names, place names. So we can try to identify them automatically, is possible, and so we have a first set of words automatically aligned. And then, of course, the difficult thing is that we have, in any case, to combine automatic and manual work. But these are two possibilities. Use a bridge language, dictionaries, and then name entities recognition. And
I think also this is something has to do with topic modeling. I'm not an expert, of course, but some of my colleagues have asked me about the role of Arabic in the semantic topic modeling of the Bible, and he told me that his idea was just to see or if Arabic could be used to figure out whether the two synonyms on German or in English translation of the Bible is the same. And I cannot give details on this, but I mean, I think we do have an opportunity here to have a corpus or corpora of aligned texts and publish them in a C by C license, I mean in an open access form, and to give the chance to computer scientists, the experts, in order to work with these data, not only as a training data, but also as data for topic modeling and other machine actionable models that they are trying to work on. The challenge here is to have a corpus, aligned corpus, which is, as you said, big work, a big amount of work, tree banking and aligning. This is a big challenge, especially in languages like Greek and Arabic, which is a rich language in its morphology. Arabic is like the Greek. You have the stem, and it's semantically, morphologically, and syntactically, everything in the sentence goes around a certain stem, which reserve also the meaning. So if we have aligned corpora between Greek and Arabic, or like in the Bible, Greek and Arabic and English and German and Latin, so I think these aligned corpora could be used as a training data, not only for machine translation, as I said, but also for topic modeling and all the other computational tasks that the experts know, and all the algorithms. So I think this is something important to have it first, the corpora, manual aligned, and then we could move to working with them in a computational way.
Yes, the problem is to have, yes, a corpus and corpora, to have them aligned, yes, is another thing. But yes, corpora, and then with languages like Greek, which is an inflected language, there are other issues and problems. So to get the lemma, to get the inflected form, so there is still a lot of work that has to be done. But so there are different approaches, and definitely, so that's why we have to produce more data, but not only manually, but also automatically exploring with different possibilities. And topic modeling definitely is another possibility for an automatic alignment. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So, well, of course, translation alignment is a huge topic, and so thank you for this discussion. Now yeah. So really, thank you for these examples, and well, it was also very interesting. So we started with this common session with Herodotus, so we will follow Herodotus in other countries. So this is another important aspect for students. So to see how Herodotus is run in different countries, not only in Germany or in Greece, but also, well, in Egypt, a country that Herodotus describes. This is very, very important. So his vision of Egypt, the Greek vision of Egypt, which is a well-known topic, problematic topic. But we will follow in our next common sessions Herodotus in other countries, so in Georgia, and then in Iran. So this is another interesting aspect, and that's why, so we are involved in different countries in Sunoikis. This is important, so to see, for example, how students in Cairo read Herodotus, what they think about Herodotus, how they perceive Herodotus. There are descriptions of their country, so this is a very fascinating topic. So, and Usama, you're working with students in Cairo. Maybe you can say a few last words about this aspect, because we focus on the translation, but how he's perceived Herodotus in Egypt. I understand this is a very big question, but this is an interesting one.
Yes, I think here the culture plays a very big, important factor. You know, most of the students have learned Arabic and have a view of history, which is something different than the European view. We have in Egypt two views actually of history. The one with the Hijra date, and the one with the Coptic dating, which if you buy a newspaper in Cairo, you will have the three dates. You know, you have the Anno Domini, and you have the Hijra, and you have the Coptic, which started, as we all know, was Diocletian 284 when he was an emperor, because he has persecuted the Christians, the Orthodox here. So, for example, now we are in 2017, we are in 1438 of Hijra, we are in 1733 in the Coptic calendar. So I think all this has an important effect on their view when Herodotus came to Egypt, and the years are the same, but how to view this from the Coptic view or from the Arabic view, they know the places, but from the Arabic labels, when you talk to them about the Egyptian labels of this and how the Greek vision of Herodotus or the Greek labels of these places, it's very interesting to see that they are much more attached to the Egyptian, the Coptic one, than the Greek one, the Greek labels, you know, when he is describing everything. And also to look with them how he present the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, in his text, and how their view about the ancient Egyptians. It's very, always there are jokes and a lot of things in the lecture, because this is very interesting, because now here is someone, not a modern author, it's an ancient author talking about us, and he is, as Egyptian, of course, talking about our ancestors, their life, talking about the places that we are living in, and so on. So it's a kind of a dynamic discussion between me and the students, and they're always question about the Greek presence in Egypt. Are we Egyptians? The Coptic, what is Coptic, what is Egyptian, what is Christian, and all this identity, which is very imminent now. The question of identity is very imminent in the present time and now in Egypt. So it's a pleasant reading, I would say.
Thank you, Usama. This is really very, very interesting. There is someone who wanted to say something. No, maybe not, sorry. So Usama, yes, this is very, very fascinating and very interesting. And I think, yes, these tools, so focusing on the language helps to discuss all these things. So identity and language, of course, is an expression of identity. So to have the possibility to use these tools and to focus and to visualize, because for students nowadays it's important to visualize on the screen or a sheet of paper, but to visualize what they are doing, what they are producing. So, well, okay, now our time is over. Thank you very much for this interesting common session. You have the class outline on GitHub, everything. Usama added readings and many other things. So next week we have another topic, prosopography with Gabi and Rada. Again, you have, and this is another important topic, well, not directly connected to translation alignment, but when we align our text, when we annotate our text, of course, we have also to deal with prosopography, with names. And next week, we will see how and why. So thank you very much again for your contribution and your participation, and see you next week. And now, goodbye and good night. See you.